waved and smiled happily as thousands cheered them in the city's downtown skyscraper canyon. At 12:30 p.m., as the motorcade rolled through grassy Dealey Plaza on its way out of downtown, Smith heard the 3 rifle shots fired by Lee Harvey Oswald. He immediately picked up the radio telephone in front of him, the only mobile phone available to the 58 Washington reporters on Kennedy's trip. Smith dictated his first dispatches about the assassination to UPI's Dallas bureau, while an apoplectic competitor from the Associated Press punched him and tried to wrest the phone away. Smith's first bulletin, 3 shots fired at President Kennedy's motorcade today in downtown Dallas, clattered across UPI's teletype machines at 12:34 p.m., just 4 minutes after Oswald fired his rifle. Smith's dispatch was the first the world heard of Kennedy's assassination. The Associated Press, which competed story for story with UPI, didn't move its first report of the shooting until 12:39 p.m. Smith and UPI beat the AP by 5 minutes, an eternity in the wire service's war of seconds. At Parkland Hospital, just moments after the shooting, Smith dashed up to the blood-spattered presidential limousine and saw the dying president cradled in his wife's arms. A Secret Service agent he knew told him Kennedy was dead. Another bit of exclusive news Smith soon put on the UPI wire. Later, Smith was one of 3 reporters watching as Kennedy's vice president, Lyndon Johnson, was sworn in as the nation's new chief executive aboard Air Force One while it was parked on the Dallas airport tarmac. His AP competitor chose not to go to the airport, giving Smith and UPI yet another win over the competition. Smith accompanied Johnson, Mrs. Kennedy, and the slain president's body on the flight back to Washington, all the while gathering details for the vivid Pulitzer Prize-winning story he wrote for the next day's morning newspapers. Smith was one of the most widely read and influential journalists of his time. He earned his readership and influence by closely covering his beat. Smith arrived at the White House in 1941, and over the next 29 years he earned sources among everyone who worked there: presidents, their aides, Secret Service agents, valets, gardeners. No matter who was president, Smith was a White House insider. Franklin Roosevelt died in Warm Springs, Georgia, on the day he was supposed to attend a picnic Smith had organized for him. Harry Truman once took his shirt off to disprove one of Smith's news tips. After Dwight Eisenhower had a heart attack, he was photographed wearing a bathrobe embroidered with the words, "Much better, thanks." The embroidered message was Smith's doing. He was fast and accurate. He could juggle several complicated stories in his head at once and dictate perfect copy for each over the phone, a critical skill for a wire service reporter who competed fiercely to report the story first. He was a character out of the front page, cranky, warm, and funny, 5'10", mustachioed with a staccato voice that seemed to come from the side of his mouth. Smith viewed his job as looking coldly at the presidency. Though he sometimes expressed opinions in speeches and TV appearances, in print he focused on digging up facts and news his audience wanted to read. His byline appeared regularly on newspaper front pages across the country, and his insider columns about the presidency and White House life were widely read. Some of Smith's colleagues deemed him the greatest wire service reporter of all time. Those who read Smith's newspaper stories about President Kennedy's assassination weren't the only ones to gain by his hustle and expertise in Dallas. Many people know that Walter Cronkite of CBS was the first to report the assassination on network TV. Few know that Cronkite learned of the shooting from Smith's dispatches. Because Smith was first with news of the shooting and with other assassination details, his reporting was an important source for broadcasters' TV and radio bulletins. Some reporters, mostly TV types, used their work on the assassination story to build their reputations and careers. The struggle for identity by some of these TV characters is incredible. UPI's top editor, Earl Johnson, wrote Smith after attending a party at Cronkite's home several weeks after Kennedy's death. Smith had a healthy ego, and he was proud of his Pulitzer Prize. But he also wished he had won it for some other story. His death in 1970, foreshadowed by personal tragedy, money woes, illness, depression, and a ferocious drinking problem, kept him from participating in the anniversary stories and other